Hello everybody, my name is Daniel and welcome you to DIY Retro channel. In today's episode I will show you how to build this fancy, retro looking, stylish, portable speaker for playing music from your smartphone. And let's get started. I've always been a fan of vintage music playback equipment. That's why I thought it would be a great idea to draw inspiration from the past and build something that will be visually pleasing and have practical use. On a piece of pine wood measuring 20 cm in length, 7 cm in width and 4 cm in height, I marked the locations for cutting holes for the phone and speaker mount. As you can see, I'm just using basic tools like jigsaw, wood file and drill, which I believe everyone has at home. In my case, the hole for the phone measures 9 cm in length by 1.3 cm in width and goes through the entire piece of wood, and you will see why in a moment. Using a 16mm diameter drill bit, I'm drilling a hole through which the sound wave emanating from the phone speaker will travel, then into our speaker tube. As you probably noticed, this is completely acoustic speaker, which means it doesn't have any additional amplifier inside. To smooth out the walls inside the sound channel, I'm using a regular wood chisel. We've got all the holes prepared in our piece of wood. Now we'll polish our base, removing any unevenness before painting. Before painting, we also make the bottom part of our base. We'll make it out of stainless steel. I could use something easy to work with, but I just like stainless steel. We simply trace the bottom side of the base onto the stainless steel sheet and cut out the outline with an angle grinder. The time has come to paint the base. I've chosen black, which is my favorite color. I have made a few bases in brown or light wood colors, and they also look great. However, black is black. In the meantime, while the painting is drying, I'm polishing the copper elbow for the speaker tube. Before I glue the stainless steel bottom in place, I'm inserting a piece of wood into the center of the hole as a phone stand, short enough not to block the bottom speaker on a phone. Remember, this is an acoustic speaker, so the channel leading from the phone speaker to the speaker tube must not be blocked. And of course, I'm using double-sided tape to glue the bottom. I use it for many of my projects, and I love this adhesive tape. And now all that's left is to properly position the stainless steel bottom and stick it to the wooden base. I recommend that precise alignment because if you need to reattach it, it will be difficult to remove the bottom. This tape is really strong. Now let's attach the legs. You can use felt or some kind of rubber for this purpose. The idea is for our base not to sit directly on a stainless steel bottom. We can also mount the copper elbow where we'll place our speaker tube. Okay folks, we have our base made from wood and stainless steel, and now it's time to build a speaker tube. So let's get back to work. The speaker tube will be made of cardboard. I traced 8 identical triangles on a cardboard using a template measuring 8 by 17 by 17 cm. I didn't have a large enough sheet of cardboard to trace all 8 triangles on one, so I drew 2 halves of the speaker, each consisting of 4 triangles, on separate sheets. In a later part of the video, I'll show you how to assemble them. Okay, I have drawn 4 triangles on each sheet, so I can cut out 2 halves of the speaker from cardboard now. To make it easier for me to give the speaker tube the right shape, I'm using a utility knife to make gentle cuts along the lines. Remember not to press too hard with the knife. We don't want to cut through the cardboard completely, just enough to make it easier to bend along the lines. To form the speaker, I'm sticking the two halves together with adhesive tape. The thinner the tape, the better. Before painting, it's worth checking if everything is even. If not, at this stage we can still remove the tape, but will be much harder to do so later. Sip of coffee, and let's move on to painting the inner and only inner side of the speaker tube. For this, it's best to use spray paint. Watching this episode from the beginning, it probably won't surprise you that I am using black paint. And yeah, I've been reading Henry Ford's biography. After the paint has dried, we can move on to the outer part of the tube. For this we will use veneer. I chose silver veneer, but gold will be worked just as well. On the back side of the veneer, I trace 8 identical triangles. They need to be slightly larger than the ones we use for the speaker. For this I'm using a template measuring 8 by 19 by 19 centimeters. Now we need to carefully cut out all 8 triangles. I recommend using a very sharp knife to make the cuts as smooth as possible. We don't want to tear out veneer. The triangles have been cut out, so we gently peel off the protective layer of the veneer. Then we stick each of the 8 cut triangles onto the corresponding side of the speaker. This step requires real focus because it's easy to make mistake on this stage. I cut off the excess veneer and stick it onto the inner side of the speaker tube. Okay, we have the inner side of the tube painted and the outer side covered with veneer. Now it's time to give the last finish the front side of the speaker tube. For this purpose I will use decorative tape. You can easily buy it at a paint or DIY store. I cut off 8 pieces of tape, each about 9 cm long. Unfortunately, the tape I have is a bit too wide, so I cut the previously cut pieces along the length, not perfectly in the middle, but in a way that preserves 2 strips on a tape. I stick each piece of decorative tape around the inner circumference of the speaker tube. This way you will be able to cover the previously folded veneer. Both ends of the decorative tape should be cut at a slight angle so that the subsequent pieces fit together perfectly. And you should pay attention to this step. In my opinion, this is crucial for the appearance of our speaker. As you can see, the speaker tube is almost ready. Almost because it can't be placed in a copper elbow yet, which is in the base we made in the first part of this video. To do this, we will mount a 3 cm long piece of copper pipe with a diameter of 20 mm to our tube. It will perfectly fit the copper elbow with a diameter of 22 mm, which is placed in the wooden base. To fit the piece of 20 mm diameter pipe into the tube, I need to gently widen its cone. And now I gently mount pipe on its place and tube. For a more secure installation of the pipe, I recommend using fast drying glue. The copper pipe has been mounted. Now all we have left to do is finish the installation of the narrower side of the speaker. For this I will use decorative tape just like before. The decorative tape should basically just cover the surface where the tube meets the pipe. Therefore the tape shouldn't be too wide. At least 1 cm of the pipe should protrude. In this case, it's also worth using fast drying glue. Okay, the main two components are finished. Let's fix them together. In my opinion, it look cool. And now it's time to do some test by playing music from our smartphone by this cool looking portable retro speaker. I didn't use a professional microphone, but I am sure that even without it, you hear the difference. I have to admit, I impressed myself. Besides, I think it looks really cool and would work great as a gift or a part of interior decoration. That's all in this episode. I hope that you enjoyed of the video and also hope that video was inspiring for you. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, like and comments, and see you soon in the next episode of DIY Retro channel. Take care and bye bye.